nose is holding. Okay.
All right. We are live.
All right. Hello, everyone. The Windy City Ghostbusters are proud to present the preeminent show focused on the charitable side of ghostbusting. We are meeting the incredible people from all over the world that dress like khaki-covered exterminators, lugging around 30-pound backpacks, all in the name of putting smiles on faces and helping people. We're here to find out, as Dr. Venkman would say, what makes them tick and see if they can answer the question, why we bust. I am your host, Patrick Calvert, and joining me, as always, is the central nervous system of our show. And sure, we're broadcasting loud and clear on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as all of the major podcast apps like Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. It's James Norman. James, how are you?
I'm cold. How are you?
Yeah, should we blame Jason sending this Canadian Arctic air so far south? It's
we're getting hit with it so badly right now, like something like 100 centimeters. I mean, whatever that is in inches, I don't know, but yeah, like 100 centimeters of it.
That's crazy. Yeah, I used to have. I'm in the middle of my intro, but we'll skip over that. But yeah, I had. I used to have clients in Canada that would send me pictures of the parking lots after, by like mid-January, would just have 10, 20 feet of snow just piled up as it just had all been pushed into a central location. And yeah, that's not what we get here in Chicago most of the time.
Yeah. No, I see the photos on Facebook of people like, oh, it's a snow day. And it's like 1 inch of snow.
Yeah.
And like, we're getting like 6. I mean, come on.
Right. And that's just a Wednesday.
Exactly.
But, yeah. So yeah, no, we're getting that cold air. And the fun thing is I bought a garage fridge freezer, one that specifically said is built for garages, but when it gets this cold, the freezer stops working and it actually defrosts everything in the freezer. So for some reason that stops working when it gets this cold. So I just have to open the door and unplug it at this point to keep things cold. Need to get an insulated garage here in Chicago. But anyhow, I guess we don't need to hide it. Jason Fitzsimmons from GhostbustersNews.com is our guest this week on Why We Bust. And we're going to be spending a lot of time digging into Jason's past with Ghostbusters and how he's helping the community out these days. But first, we also have a special guest. Matt Zunick is here from the Los Angeles Ghostbusters. And, Matt, to say that Los Angeles has been on and the Southern California area has been on everyone's mind lately is an understatement. You guys have been going through a lot, and your group, the Los Angeles Ghostbusters, you're teaming with a few other area groups to help bring some relief for all of the just the devastation that's been going on there. So I want to make sure I give you some time up front here. Can you share a little bit about what you're doing right now and just what it's like to be living through a crazy time like this?
Yeah, of course. So hi everybody. Thank you so much. I should say for having me. It's a real honor to be here. I was telling you guys before the show, it's amazing to see just how the Ghostbusters community in the last couple of years has really used social media to really kind of come together. And it's been such an amazing experience to A, join a Ghostbusters group, and then B, see this just explosion of love and support within the Ghostbusters community with everything with, the Starlight Hospital Gown initiatives to, what we're doing now with Cal Fire Foundation. It's really, really remarkable. And so, yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we will have you on in a time when things calm down and we can do a deeper dive on all of the other great things you guys are doing. But I know we've got kind of that pressing issue at hand.
Yeah. LA has been going through the ringer the past couple of weeks. It has not been easy. I'm closest to the Eaton fire, which is the second of the 2 major fires that were happening. At one point we had like 5 fires going. That was terrifying.
Wow.
So I'm only maybe a mile and a half from where the fire was in Eaton Canyon and where it swept through the neighborhood of Altadena, which was just absolutely devastating.
Yeah, the pictures look AI generated. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's weird that we're living in a time where I have to double check if what I'm seeing is real
Yeah.
or not, but
Yeah.
it was crazy.
There is a lot of AI generated stuff out there, and I would say, like, people, like, before you have an immediate reaction to the Hollywood sign being on fire, rest assured the Hollywood sign is fine. But yes, Altadena was very, very badly hit. And I work in the community down on Colorado, which is kind of the old town downtown area, and we were getting so many people coming in that were had lost their homes or lost pets, even lost loved ones, and it was absolutely devastating to see that. When the fires really started coming down, I'm separated from that area of Altadena. There's basically a freeway that kind of bisects the whole community, and it's the 210 freeway.
Mhm.
And I remember turning to my girlfriend when I came home, and I was like, it's highly unlikely that it's gonna jump the 210. But
Mhm.
we like looked outside. I cannot describe to you the wind that night. It was absolutely deafening. And you just look up and you could see like ash and little bits of like ember. And we were just like,
Are
what?
these like the
Maybe
Santa Ana winds?
yeah, these are the Santa
Yeah.
Ana winds. And we were just looking at that like, maybe we don't want to gamble on this idea that it won't
Jeez.
jump the 210. And so we decided we would rather get the important things that we have that we know we need and remove ourselves from the situation before we're forced to move from the situation.
Mhm.
And so we stayed with some friends for a few days, but there was a point walking around the house, just dead silence, and just being like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back.
Right.
And, I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate to be in a situation where I was able to come back and we weren't under an evacuation order. But there's so many in our community that didn't have that luxury.
Mhm.
And my heart breaks for them.
Yeah, and I think the words just are coming because I mean,
Yeah.
so much of California and your area in Los Angeles is just ingrained in our culture. We
Yeah.
see it. It's
Yeah.
behind every movie and television show that we see. We know these neighborhoods. We know these streets, and it just doesn't seem real. And it's got to be so surreal
Yeah.
for you. And I'm so glad that you were able to keep your home. But
Yeah.
like you said, entire neighborhoods, entire towns are just gone.
Yeah.
Could you go into a little bit what you're doing and how folks can contribute and help?
Absolutely. So we immediately, I mean, as LA Ghostbusters, we really felt like we're just so passionate about our city. We just felt like we had to do something. And so we were trying to figure out the best charity that we could support that could use funds and resources right away.
Mhm.
And the one that we landed on was the California Fire Foundation. And for those who aren't aware, they work with firefighters, fallen firefighters, families, and also victims of fire disasters like this one to provide both physical and mental health support as well as financial support so that the burden imposed by this disaster is lessened
Mhm.
in any way that it can be. And they're actually I'm literally around the corner from the Pasadena Convention Center, which is right now being used as a shelter for evacuees. And I was walking past them on the way to work the other day, and there was a CAL FIRE desk right out front. And they were talking to evacuees and survivors and just giving them absolutely anything they need. Like if it
That's
was,
great.
yeah, if it was, pallets of water, if it was gift cards so they could go get whatever supplies they need. They were giving them literally every resource they had. And so I felt really, like, okay, that solidified it to me. Like, okay, it should be CAL FIRE. That way the support goes to not just the victims, but also our incredible firefighters in our communities, not just LA
Mhm.
City, but the Pasadena Fire Department, the Altadena Fire Department, the Palisades Fire Department, everybody. I mean, the Palisades Fire Department, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I saw that they actually lost a firehouse in the fire.
Oh,
Wow.
geez.
So yeah, I mean, talk about irony, but
Yeah.
still, it's like we didn't want to just support. We wanted the support that we gave to be as widespread as possible, and we really felt that Cal Fire was the best way to do it. And if you would like to donate to this fundraiser we're doing, you can visit our Facebook page at LA Ghostbusters. It should be one of the top. If it's not pinned, it will be by the time you hear this. But it should be up there. Currently, we are just over $1,800 of our $5,000 goal. It'd be great if we can meet it. It'd be great if we could surpass it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and you guys have done an amazing job, helping push it online. We've also partnered with the Hollywood Ghostbusters, the Golden State Ghostbusters, and the real San Diego Ghostbusters to help get this as widespread as possible.
Mhm.
And I want to put it to all of the Ghostbuster groups out there. If you would like to help us, it really is just as simple as like taking the link, sharing it, and sharing it on your Instagram, on your Blue Sky. If you guys still have X, sharing it on X. I guess TikTok is back up now. I don't know. If TikTok is still up, yeah, put the link up on TikTok. And if you want, I made a shield with our group logos, LAGB, Hollywood, San Diego, and Golden State. The Confluence Valley Ghostbusters and then the North Texas Ghostbusters as well have also like opted to share the links. And I just asked them like, hey guys, like by helping us out, like I would love to add your group's patch into the shield.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I've been adding shields or adding patches to the shield as we go. So, if there's anyone out there in your Ghostbusters group wants to help, like I said, it's just as easy as sharing the link, once or twice a day maybe, and just pushing it. And then, DM either the Los Angeles Ghostbusters account on Facebook or Instagram, or me. You can find me at Matt Zunick and send me your logo, preferably a high-res PNG, and I will add your group's patch to the shield. I'd like to do a run of stickers or something at the end of this with like a fully packed shield with all of the patches on there at some point. So yeah, that's something I would really, really love to do. But I want that shield packed with patches.
that would be great. And we're going to, again, repeat, it's a California Fire Foundation.
Yes.
And
California
we will
Fire
throw on all of our social media, links to donate. And Matt, you really hit a great point as far as finding a charity group that is on the ground, able to use these resources right away. This isn't something that's going to get squared away in the months and years that it's going to take, to put everything, back together out there. So that's fantastic. And it's so great to see the groups coming together. I think at times, that's the differences in a couple groups wind up being louder at times, but I've been so it's been so great to see groups really banding together more often than not. And your area is crowded with different different organizations, but it's great to see you all pairing together here. So that's fantastic. And that is a challenge out there to everybody watching, everyone listening. Please check out the social media links and contribute every $5, $10. This is all helping in a great way. So Matt,
every little bit helps.
It is. And this is something, and I feel like I'm saying this every week, but as I'm talking to people on this, and Jason, I'll be repeating it later in the show too, but I get blown away by the number of people in our fandom that are doers, that see a void and they just step up and they fill it. And you're doing that here, and it's great. And it makes us, because we're watching and we're not a part of, I've never even been to Los Angeles, but so there's a helplessness where it's, okay, do we just generally donate to the Red Cross, or, can we send some clothes or to donate to food banks? But you're helping us, around the country and around the world, helping us feel like we're doing something too. So it's because there's a different type of grief on the outside because it's no way compares to yours, but at the same time it makes there's that the level of helplessness kind of can get eased a little bit by what you're doing. So I want to thank you on behalf of those helpless people out here that we're looking for a way to help.
Thank you so much for saying so. And when we were, right now the fires are rapidly coming under control. It's actually very windy today, and we're supposed to have more of these like Santa Ana events later this week. So fingers crossed, hopefully we stay in the good graces here. But when it was a little bit more, I'd say about a week and a half ago, when we weren't sure, like, can we even go home yet? Like when my girlfriend and I were staying, off site, unsure about when we were going to come back, there was a helplessness of just like, I mean, our homes will probably be fine, but what do we do? Like, what can we do? Because we were looking at, the Santa Anita racetrack, which is just, a little ways down the freeway. They were taking donations, and then the Pasadena Convention Center, like I said, was also taking donations. And we were just like, okay, so let's go to Costco, let's get pallets of water, let's get some supplies. And right as we were getting ready to go do that, we were checking the Facebooks and the Instagrams of these institutions, and they all started saying, we're actually good, like as far as supplies go. And that became something that, like, when we were thinking about, how do we want to contribute here? How do we want to fundraise? How do we want to give back to our communities? We were thinking, like, do we donate supplies? And I reached out to, at the time, I was reaching out to the Los Angeles County Fire Department Foundation. And they said, actually, the best thing people can do is donate money. And I say that to everyone out there. If you are seeing the fires and the devastation that is happening in LA, the best thing you can do is donate money, even if it's only a couple bucks. Like, honestly, it goes a long way, because supply wise, it's hard to know what people need until they say what they need. Whereas if you give them funds, they can go get what they need. I mentioned before we got on today, we were volunteering over at the local Y over here. They're doing, basically they have pallets and pallets of supplies, and we're talking everything from clothing to shampoo, laundry detergent, like anything people need, they can come get it. And there was a time when they said, actually, we're good on stuff, but tomorrow we'll likely need X, Y, and Z. And we went out and got that. And then when we brought it, they were like, actually, we're good on that. so that's when my girlfriend and I, like, okay, we should either volunteer or we should donate money.
Yes. So the money's a little bit more flexible than everything else. So that's a great perspective, because until you're in the middle of it, and kudos for you for actually going and talking to folks and figuring that out. So what you're doing sounds like it's the perfect way to help, if you can help. So once again, that's the California Fire Foundation. Go to Matt's Facebook, go to the Los Angeles Ghostbusters Facebook page,
or Instagram, and
the other any of the social media accounts there, and the other groups that are helping you are the Hollywood Ghostbusters,
San Diego as well, and then the Golden State Ghostbusters, and then the Confluence Valley Ghostbusters, the North Texas Ghostbusters, and I believe the Michigan Ghostbusters as well jumped on there. We love and appreciate all the help.
Thank you to all the other groups, and Matt, thank you to you and to all the other Ghostbusters that you're working with out there. Once again, this is a fan community that just keeps impressing me, and it just takes so easily to being a help. And that's that's so fun. It's so fun to see that. That's kind of just the natural offshoot with Ghostbuster fans, is trying to be viewing themselves as being a part of the service to the community around them. So Matt, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you've got a few things you got to do tonight, so you're welcome to hang out as long as you can. If you need to bounce, we just can't thank you enough for hopping on here today.
Well, I mean, thank you so much for having me, and thank you, you know, thank you for everything you guys do. I mean, this is such a you just mentioned it, like it's such a tight knit community, the Ghostbusters fandom, and everything that we've done with the Starlight gowns and the national fundraising that we've been able to do, our Ghostbusters community has raised, you know, outside of our group individually, like over hundreds of thousands of dollars
It's crazy.
for charity. Just the Starlight Hospital gowns alone raised $86,000 and generated, I think, 3,000 gowns that are distributed across the country, and more are coming. I mean, it's mind-boggling what we've been able to accomplish, and that all of these things start as just grassroots initiatives by fans who just want to see something really cool go towards something they're really passionate about. And what you guys do here, and Jason, what you do at GB News, all it does is bring that fandom closer together. And I can't thank you guys enough for what you do for us.
Great.
It means a lot.
It means a lot to us, and it's great. It warms my heart. But please know that everyone around the world are paying attention and want to do their part. And so I think you've got a great goal, and I'm confident you're gonna hit it. So want again, everybody listening, watching, please find those links and make some donations, and it'll go a long way. So again, Matt, can't thank you enough. And we'll if anybody is having trouble, reach out to me, reach out to Matt. I know, Jason, you've plugged this as well, so you can go to ghostbustersnews.com if you're looking for it as well. So lots of ways to find it, but we'll help you get there if you're having trouble.
Cool. Thank you again so much, guys. I am gonna bounce, but thank you again for the opportunity to come on here and talk about this. It means a great deal to me.
Great, and we'll have you back when things calm down, and we can do
absolutely
a little bit of a deeper dive, and maybe it would be good to kind of touch bases what the outcome of this effort is. So we'll talk to you a little bit down the road.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it sounds great.
Thank you so much. You take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep.
All right. I want to thank Matt Zunick again from the Los Angeles Ghostbusters for sharing with us. It's crazy what they've been going through out there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, you've been seeing these fires, and Jason, Canada has not been immune to this stuff.
No. I mean, like over in like Vancouver or such like that and everything like that. Yeah, it's crazy. And obviously, like for me, for good or worse, I get a lot of my information from social media. But just seeing all the actual firsthand stories coming out of LA and such like that, and just across the board down there has just been heart-wrenching.
It has, and it was. I mean, I'm glad that things have been contained. I am getting nervous hearing that those winds are going to be picking back up, because I mean, it's just, you don't think that they're getting 100-mile-per-hour winds whipping down off the mountains, but that's the videos were just crazy coming out of there. So yes, we'll talk again at the end of the show real quick about this, but moving on a little bit, switching gears. Jason Fitzsimmons from Ghostbusters News is our big guest today. And Jason,
hi.
Can't thank you enough for coming on. This is for me, I've been in doing the part of the Windy City Ghostbusters for a couple of years now, but I've been seeing your face for more than a decade now. How long? When did the YouTube videos?
I apologize for that.
Start?
I've been videos now has probably been a little over 10 years. Has to be. Kind of started by accident. I really didn't mean to have my face come up on Google when you search Ghostbusters. I wanted to be like behind the veil,
right.
I never wanted to be out there. But I am. So
yeah,
I'm doing this right now. No, it was just kind of by accident, honestly. Like,
you didn't realize YouTube was going to become, I think, the professional outlet that it is probably when you first started putting those videos out.
it was a weird offshoot because honestly, what kind of triggered the YouTube side of things was I've always been a huge fan of I'm gonna plug someone else here, another content creator, Matt of Dinosaur Dracula, and he would do like the Halloween countdown every year, and I love those. And it was a thing where I was like, I really like them. I kind of have this Ghostbuster collection. Maybe I can do something. And I'll admit, like my first like Halloween set of videos was pretty much a rip on him. That's really what it was. And like him and I were talking too, and like great guy. But it was a thing where it was accidental. I think it was Halloween costumes. They're .com now, but they used to be .net, I think.
Okay.
And they reached out and they were like, "Hey, do you want to review like a 6-foot tall Stay Puft and like a Slimer mask?" And it was like, okay. So like I grabbed my old 720p Sony camera and recorded my first video or two, and I think the Stay Puft video maybe still up on the channel, but it just kind of snowballed from there. I did that, and then like the old subscription service Nerd Block was like, "Hey, you want to unbox some of our subscription boxes?" Sure. And then it just kind of kept I guess like a snowball effect from there.
Well, it's weird, you're too close being in the eye of the hurricane to see, but you have a friendly face and a friendly demeanor is my blood pressure goes down when I get to watch one of your YouTube videos a little bit. So it's I enjoy seeing them, and I think I guess I'm a bit all over the board here today. I apologize. We're still potty training in my house, so right before you beat me to the room, Jason. It's a little hectic here, but there's for a while being a Ghostbusters fan without a lot out there. You felt like you were kind of on an island by yourself, being a big Ghostbusters fan, and when Ghostbusters News started pumping out content, it brought me like a little bit, okay, I'm not alone here. There's other people that are getting excited for and there wasn't all that much merchandise to report on, and
I mean like even right now we're kind of like in like a weird lull, just post Frozen Empire, waiting for the new animated series, but we started back in 2009, so we were coming right off of the video game, the Atari video game, and Mattel, or no, it wasn't Mattel. It was it was Mattel. Mattel, they just had like their first line of figures announced, or not Mattel. So, Mattel.
It was Mattel, right?
Yeah,
they were the pre-Hasbro.
Yeah, that's Matty Collector. So they had just announced those, or maybe the Egon figure was releasing around that time. So that was like the first blip of news post like NECA back in like 03 or 04 when they were doing their stuff. So there's those like crazy dry spells, but I love just finding the random stuff in terms of like last night a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man inspired candle made by horrordecor.net, these guys, and just kind of like just compiling everything. Just if you're looking to spend your money on something Ghostbusters, chances are I've at least told you about 3 or 4 things. That's kind of the goal, I don't get the money, but it's out of you. I'm sorry. I apologize again.
You are helping feed some addictions out there.
Exactly.
Oh God, yes.
So let's back up a little bit, because we were talking to Matt about how many times I run into doers in this fandom. And that sounds weird, but the people that I said it last week, I am great at riding a coattail. If someone wants to kick open the door and be the first one to that door, I'm great at hopping on, and I can be a contributor there. But taking that first step that's an area I always am trying to improve upon, and obviously there wasn't a Ghostbusters news outlet prior to you. So what was the void that you saw, and what you weren't looking at as a monetary gain when you first started, I'm guessing. Could you kind of talk us through a little bit of that start?
First of all, I wouldn't say like by any means like I kicked down the door. Like I'm riding the coattails. I would think of like people back in the day, like Chris Stewart, a Proton Charging, AJ Quick, a GB fans, such like that and everything. I think though where AJ, he focuses obviously on his store, which he should. has some amazing products out there for prop builders and such. And Chris is doing the Crossrip podcast and everything. I think it's just kind of that changing with the times, where a lot of people are like, Ghostbusters news kind of started this or started that. I think the site just kind of adapted and again altered with the times. We're doing video now, we're doing this, we're doing that. So I don't know, what was the question again?
It was more of you to get yourself started, where you said this is something that I should be doing.
Yeah. It was something where, honestly, at the time I was doing a video game website. It was myself. I was employed at a video game store. The other gentleman there, the manager at the time, he was also with the website. It was him and I running it. And it was a thing where he decided not to do it anymore. And I found myself at the time really having a lot of fun focusing on this Ghostbusters game. And Ghostbusters was something I always loved. It wasn't like I just found it in 2009. Like, my first memory was being 3 or 4 years old and being surprised by like a bug-eye ghost figure my parents gave me. Like, that is like the first solid memory I have. And then the next day, turning the packaging around, because that's the only figure I had, and cutting the Ghostbusters out of the back of the box. So I had little like cardboard Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Battle of Bug-Eye Ghost. And he was just massive and like overthrowing New York. Yeah, so I started young there.
And how long did that string last? Because I cut mine, I think right after I got it, and lost the eyeball.
Mine, I still have my childhood one, so I'm quite thankful for that. But no, when it came to the site, is again, it was like that 2009 Ghostbusters game. It was something where I just enjoyed covering it, and it was this weird snowball effect. And I would say, honestly, for the first 10, 11 years of the site, I find it hard to look back on something I released last week, let alone back in like 2021, 2020, 2019, what have you, and prior. But for that first 10 years, like, the articles, you could use that word very loosely. They weren't even articles. Like, it was like, here's fan art, here's 1 to 2 sentences. Here you go click on this and go visit the artist page. It was very much just I think more so a hub, where it was like, check this out, it's cool. If you want to check it out, if you want to see more of it, click this button. There you go.
Yeah.
It was only until, honestly, I kind of started thinking of it. I was looking at the back end and I thought, I may have something here. Let me put a lot more effort into it. And it wasn't that I wasn't putting effort in it before. It was something where I would kind of go back to Chris Stewart and Proton Charging. I would read his site and be in awe with how good his stuff was, like how good his articles were. And I was intimidated. I was scared half to death to do that. So to me, it was something where it was just a very low, I've got to build up my confidence more and more and more. I have to kind of get out of my bubble a little bit and just put myself out there. And thankfully, the GB fan community has been fantastic when it comes to that, for the most part.
Well, let's talk about building up that confidence. Did you take any, did you excel in your composition courses in school? Did you keep a journal? Like, what's your history with having to write, or was it really just
nothing?
One of those takes 10,000 hours and become an expert kind of things?
Everything is just trial and error, self-taught, no matter what it was. Writing, graphics, video, no matter what I'm doing on the site, I don't think I've ever really been formally trained on any of it. It's just me looking at other content creators, being like, I like what they do. What if we tweak that? Like, what if we kind of alter that and Ghostbuster-ified it just a little bit?
Right.
That's always been kind of my approach for it. Again, it's just like a slow learning curve. And when I release content, like I just kind of mentioned there, it's hard for me to kind of like watch myself, because I feel like I always kind of feel like I want to get a little better. And I don't know if I did, or I don't know if I am, but the video I released this week compared to next week, I want it to come off a little bit better, maybe a little more professional, what have you. And
it's hard to see the forest through the trees
it is
at times, to use the old cliche, but I would say you definitely can look at something 5 years ago and look at something today and see that there is a progression there. And I think even you could acknowledge that, yep, we are putting out better content than 5 years ago.
All it shows is I've purchased LED lights and I spent a lot of money on action figures. That's really all it shows. Like, come on.
And a really cool 3D printer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But obviously, like you mentioned, there are changes in the. I mean, it's a whole different community too. There's the YouTube and social media communities, and watching what influencers there are doing, and then having to play a little bit of catch up. Sure, I'm sure there. How much of that are you aware of or paying attention to? Is that what the real is that turning into a grind for you, or how are you able to keep yourself? Because I have, I'm not a social media wizard at all. This is what you're seeing here is the extent of my my skill level as far as presenting myself on camera. So how are you? Is that how are you doing as far as keeping up and adapting? Is that enjoyable for you?
You're presenting yourself wonderfully. You've got a smooth, angelic voice, so
you're
doing
so
fantastic there. It's weird because I guess it was about 3 years ago or so now, I kind of transitioned into this being what I do. Ghostbusters news is what I do now. The worst part, I will say, is the in-depth content side of things. With regards to, you've got this list and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this today. And then something on the back end doesn't happen the way it should. And now this 3-hour project is 8 hours. Or you spend an entire day working on a project that you can't say anything about. And then an hour before it's supposed to go up, you get contact and you're like, hey, by the way, that thing that's due out today, we've pushed it back 6 months. So sorry, not naming any names out there. But that's a hypothetical. Never happened. It totally never happened. But
you can imagine that would be frustrating.
Yeah, it'd be very, very frustrating there.
And you can see for you, there's a direct correlation to income amounts based on how many hours you're putting into this stuff too.
No, but that's the other thing too. At the same time, it's not even the income for that one, because I'm never going to focus on income. Like if there's something out there where I know, okay, this is going to do fire, it's going to do great, and this one's not, but maybe this one is a community driven thing.
Sure.
Like I approach both of those at the same level for that. Like I'm not out there being like, okay, I'm going to focus, like I'm going to feature Mondo because I know that's going to get the Google clicks and everything like that.
Sure.
And no, before we get there, we need to feature this fan franchise. We need to feature this first. We need to do this, this, and this, and then we'll get to Mondo for that one.
Sure.
So sometimes it is like a bit of a balancing act, and kind of going back to social media when it comes to it. It's been huge too, because honestly, a lot of the traffic to the site is fan driven. Like, I make the content or what have you there, but some of the biggest news stories of last year, on the site, came from someone posting it on GB Fans Worldwide Facebook group, or posting it on, X, and it going viral or what have you there. And it wasn't my doing. I made the content, yes, but it's just other people out there finding, this face on Google. I apologize for that again.
We'll just put a blanket apology under the screen that Jason apologizes for.
I'm Canadian, so I'm going to apologize for everything.
Well, can you give us a Canadian sorry?
I mean, I am half American, but sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So, with you mentioned that balance between, you're not just focusing on, hey, here's the latest HasLab news, but you do bring a lot of attention to what the fan groups across the world are doing, as they do generate a lot of their own cool stuff too. Being a in it but removed from, you're not strapping on a pack and walking in a parade 10 times a year.
Yeah.
How have you seen, or kind of what was your introduction to kind of the fan groups, that go out there and raise money? How did you first kind of become aware of those groups, or what's your experience been with that?
Yeah, I mean, my correlation with that is actually I was a member. Am I still a member? I don't know. Of the Ontario Ghostbusters fan group.
I don't know how I didn't know that.
I was. Well, I've been last event I attended was like post COVID, so I don't think I'm in the group anymore. But they're a great set of people. And it was something where I saw them at the Fan Expo Toronto events, and this was right around the time, like actually I think that was the summer that I started that site back in 09. I think it was probably one of the first years or so. Would have had to be, because I know they started around I think the same exact year, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, no, I saw them shortly thereafter at the same time, and about a year or so afterwards joined them. Had a proton pack, my first proton pack commissioned. From there, my wife needed one, so we commissioned one for her as well.
That's great.
So that was fun. But that was really my first like indicator. And then when it came to the website, it was something where it was just that kind of like gradual, incline where people were then messaging, emailing, what have you, there, being like, "Hey, would you mind posting this or featuring this or what have you?" But yeah, that was definitely my first kind of inkling about the fan community, and seeing the a fan franchise there working the table and selling the goodies, the treats, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about your time as a member in the pre-COVID days in the fan group. What kind of events did you attend? Did you work? Was that a fundraising?
Yeah, it was mostly. Yeah, it was. So it was mostly a lot of the kind of like Ontario-based events. Toronto Fan Expo. There was a Niagara Falls Comic Con, stuff such like that. And yeah, just kind of man the table there, talked to people, interacted, did photo ops, all the good stuff there. Never have taken part in a parade. Also locally here, myself, my wife also, who again has been great to me. I've got to thank her, because I don't think a lot of people would have stuck by somebody who was like, you know what, the spare room. You know how you don't like the fact that there's a cabinet dedicated to Ghostbusters, but there's a spare bed and everything? How about we take out the spare bed and we bring a couple decals in here? We just make it bigger. So yeah, kudos to her. But yeah, herself, me, also a girl that's helped out with the site before, Megan. She's had a couple photo ops on the site before. We'll do local events for like libraries and like raise money for animal rescues and such like that. So while I'm definitely not active a lot in terms of boots to ground, I definitely have seen I would say a respectable share of fundraising.
That's fantastic. And so what kind of, first of all, I guess there's something that started before I became host on this show. If you have a proton pack, and you have, how many proton packs do you have at the moment?
If my wife watches this, she's gonna know the true answer, because I've got several closets with things that are in front of things that are hiding things. Two, okay. Two that are built. The two HasLabs. There is the HalloweenCostumes.com one, which is kind of questionable. The Spirit Halloween full size. I think 2 of those now, and 2 smaller ones. So, yeah.
And the real Ghostbusters.
Right. Actually, the real Ghostbusters 3D print, as well as a Spirit one that's been altered to look like real Ghostbusters.
So do you have a name for any of those? I wasn't prepared for that question when it got thrown at me. I had never thought of naming the proton pack. Did you ever name one?
No. I mean, I've never named them. I mean, I have a favorite, but I've never named them.
Gotcha. That's a fair enough answer there. But so, and what kind of Ghostbuster did you naturally pattern yourself off of a specific Ghostbuster? I know some folks love to just keep the Venkman look with the boots or the pant legs untucked, or if you're a Ray where you're loading your belt up with 45 pounds of gear, on there. Did you model yourself after anyone in particular, or did you kind of carve your own path?
I don't trust anyone who attends a 3 to 4 day event and they're Ray every day.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, by that 3rd or 4th day, you're in pain, you're aching. You got to go Venkman at least.
You can almost see that Ivan Reitman kept some of these takes right up to the moment where Dan Aykroyd's belt is about to fall off of him in some of these takes. But yeah, that is you can tell if it's somebody's first con if they're loaded up.
And I recall, like, the day I got my pack commissioned by a gentleman from the Ontario crew, and like he was like, "Oh, you want to try mine on first?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, this feels great and everything." Like, "Oh man, this is so much better than I thought." And then skip ahead 6 months, and he's like, "Here's the pack." Oh, great, this is awesome. And then like 2 hours later, like I regretted my decision entirely. I mean, I loved it. And it's something where when I got it home, I stared at it for like the next 16 hours straight. But yeah, like I don't know. Like the HasLab pack to me is a wonder because that's something that I can have on my back for so many hours and not really, I'll be okay. Like I'll feel it, but I'm overly okay. But when it came to like some of these scratch built packs, and I mean they're still being made, obviously, but I think the one I have is like 50 pounds, 45, 50 pounds, and it's a beast. And it's not a beast because it has like tons of extra features. It's just a beast because it's old. Like,
James, you have a scratch built pack too.
Well, mine's not scratch built. Mine is just GB fans in a throwing chicken wand.
Sure. Well, as in when I say scratch built, there's the new generation. I come from the new generation of people that got the HasLab because they never had the time, space, or money to invest in putting together, anything from a shell. But yeah, those. I mean, because what is it, 25 pounds on the HasLab compared to 45, 50 pounds.
Yeah, mine's like those. 30 something.
That's I mean, now I understand with everyone talking about how much Bill Murray complained on set, because I can only imagine when you're on hour 8 of the set and putting that thing back on. But that's anyhow. Sorry, I digress. I love to hear people's pack stories on there. But and you've got some cool stuff. And I one of my videos of yours that I watched quite a few times. I loved when you did the Magnoli review of the Ghostbusters 2 herringbone suit out there. So if you're ever in the Chicago area, bring your pack, bring your suit, and we'll probably have a parade going on with the Windy City Ghostbusters during the. We feel like we could probably do like 7 or 8 a year, maybe. I know on 4th of July, I think we do 3 in the day. I think last year we did 3 in.
Yeah, within that week, there's like 3 to 5 depending on the year.
Yeah, so throw in the Thanksgiving Day parade, and St. Patrick's Day stuff is big in Chicago. So you have a lot of options down here if you feel like getting some blisters on those feet. But so
I'm so appealing, I thank you. I mean, it does sound so appealing, like it really does. But the exclamation point at the end there, not so good.
Well, that's that's a battle wound. But so Jason, as you've been around and observing the community for so long, have you noticed a change as far as the fan groups or how this has evolved since you were first in the groups? What are the differences you see between 10 years ago and today with the community?
I think one of the best things now is seeing a lot of the community. Like going back 10 years ago, I felt like it's kind of like the wild, wild west. And going to now, it's a lot more streamlined. I think obviously with social media, also seeing a lot of different franchises getting the whole 501st treatment too, which is great to see. I know it's a bit of a process and everything like that, but it's just I think better for a lot of them out there, especially when you're talking about Buffalo and like their annual event when it comes to like Ghostbusters Day and such like that and everything. It just kind of adds that kind of extra words Canadian. I can't say it apparently. All right, but
it got stuck in customs.
Exactly. But no, to me, it's just something where right now it's very much more streamlined. And I remember like back in the day, and this may age, I probably won't age me, because people still bicker. I remember the biggest talk like 10 years ago in fandom. Like if you're talking to the fandoms, if you're talking to the fan franchises, were like how they would break apart. You'd have Ghostbuster Group A, and then you'd have, Ghostbuster Group B, and we're the real boys, and you're not the real, and like we're the new. I find that talk has subsided quite a bit over the past couple of years, and now it's a lot more positive when it comes to really fixating and focusing in on the actual raising of funds, helping out people, and everything. And that's great to see, because years ago when I would do a news story on a post, if it was from a fan franchise, I would feature it, and I would get an email 5-10 minutes later. Why'd you feature them? You should have featured them. Why'd you feature them? And now it's
let me tell you what they did to me.
Exactly. I got this personal story. They didn't like my Ecto 1. They said it wasn't screen accurate, and I'm going to hold that fire.
Right.
No. Kidding aside, when it comes to that, I would say, very much streamlined now. And what it should be, it's the actual, the fundraising, which is first and foremost, which is, that's should be why they're banding together. That's why they're a fan franchise group. So that's great to see.
Yeah, and I think you bringing up the groups that are getting their 501c3s, I think it's causing folks to have a bit of a aspire as they're starting a group. So now there's a goal and sort of a level that you need to, or that a lot of folks are wanting to hit there, and there's a certain amount of professionalism needs and organization that needs to happen for that, and I know that's with Windy City that's what got me to join. I said, oh, this is a legitimate charity group, not just they are a bunch of nerds, as Bob Anderson says, jerks in backpacks, running around in potato sacks, but they're legitimate, and it lets us have partnerships like here in Chicago with La Rabida Children's Hospital and Lurie's Children's Hospital. We wouldn't have those, I don't think, if we weren't able to have organized in a way to put that stamp on there. So that's very cool and good insight there, as it's a bit. I think you when you mentioned everybody splitting apart, it reminded me of Monty Python and the Life of Brian, with the various people's liberation parties and changing names to just fit their niche focus. So, but yeah, that's great insight there. And have you been able, as again, I view you sort of you're at the kind of top of the pyramid there as far as influence that comes down. Folks, if you're getting attention from Ghostbusters News or from you, it really drives legitimacy. Do you see any trends? Have you as far as where you think things are going to be going, in the future, as we keep moving forward in the next 5 years or so, as far as where you think the community is going to be at?
It's kind of hard to say, really, because it is separate. Like, it's separate from the actual franchise, right? Like, it's its own thing. It kind of feels its own thing, but at the same time, it's kind of going to be interesting to see where the franchise is over the next 5 years. When we get the animated series, hopefully another big screen sequel, all this other such. So I think that's going to definitely fuel a lot of it. And I think that's why we have seen a pretty nice uprising over the past couple of years with the release of Afterlife and then Frozen Empire and like all this Ghostbusters talk. But I really don't see it dying down at all. I know the 40th anniversary was huge for a lot of fan franchises, but like, again, you take a look at, things like the Ghostbusters Day event outside of Hook and Ladder. It's just growing every single year. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think as fan franchises, especially, I think right now the crop that's out there, just in terms of like content, like you look at their social media, like so much of it looks so good and so professional. And I'm over here like trying to keep up with a lot of them in terms of just overall like how everything just looks.
Yeah, somebody today just put out like the most incredible life-size replicas of the Scoleri brothers, and I'm blanking. I think it was someone in the UK, one of the fan groups in the UK. Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah,
I saw that, and I just it was fantastic.
Yeah,
and exciting to see.
And I mean that's so cool too, because like that's like the Halloween costumes, like Scoleri Brothers masks, just grafted on like two bodies that are just done so well. And I know also like also in that group is one of the guys like the Magic Ghostbuster who does like the Vigo the Carpathian.
Oh, is that his group? Okay.
Yeah, and he just did like redid his outfit like in leather and everything, you know, like so it and I think that's another big thing too, is actually seeing the process now, the fact that there is social media. You know, you can follow these fan franchises. You can go online, and maybe that'll be a big trend too over the next couple of years with groups like SOS. And you know what? Honestly, I've been kind of feeling this way lately a lot. Like, there are times where I'm playing catch up when I'm seeing like a lot of these fan franchises posting stuff, and honestly posting stuff that I want to feature theirs. Like, I already reached out to those guys and they're like, "Hey, can I feature the Scaleries? Like, I want to put them up on my socials and my site and everything." Like, oh yeah, absolutely.
And can you ship them for my Halloween display?
Exactly. But who knows? Maybe Halloween Costumes is making their own. I'm not going to say anything. But
I'd only get it if they also included a blow up of the judge.
Oh man, Judge Wexler, the hammer.
Judge Wexler, yeah.
But I think that'll be maybe one thing that we'll see is a lot of fan franchises. I've been noticing it kind of here and there. They're going to go more towards, I think, that kind of behind the scenes look where they're going to be showing off, you know, what they're making. Like you see some of the stuff coming out of Germany and such like that. Like some of those groups. Oh man, like the Ecto racing thing where they're like battling Muncher in the gunner seat and everything.
I saw that.
The video screen. It's crazy. It's insane. It's awesome, but it's insane.
Yes.
But I think we may see that definitely a lot more so, is again kind of the behind the scenes look at what they're making and just really kind of jaw dropping stuff. Like I think the days of like, again, going back 10 years ago, I remember the big thing was like fan franchises being like, "Hey, we've got ghost trap shaped cookies." That's what we're bringing to, you know, this convention.
How quaint.
Exactly. You know, Slimer pops, you know, they have Slimer's face on them and they're great and they're cute and all that. But the game has definitely changed and it's definitely been upped. And I think that'll just kind of continue. Especially, I mean, you know, with things like 3D printing and such like that now, like you can just do so many cool things. And the fact too, that you've got Hasbro out there, like churning out props that we all would have like lost our minds over as kids, you know, like proton packs. And, you know, where do we go from there? Obviously, you know, the Ecto one, their HasLab was a huge success. Another figure, another prop. What's next?
Yeah.
They're obviously not going to end it. So it's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah. I don't ever see the slime blower coming up, but I love to watch all the hopeful people as they talk about the next HasLab, thinking that that's going to be a realistic thing to strive for. But hey, I won't. If they do it, I'll back it.
I mean, the shipping logistics alone on that.
Could you imagine?
Oh my god! Like they're like you would have, the only way I could see it being done is if the actual tank, like the main tank, is separated in the middle. Like if you could do something there and then like put the side tanks in there, close it up.
Otherwise, you're basically delivering a sofa to everybody's house as far as the size of the box.
Yeah. Like I mean. Being here in Canada, you know, having stuff shipped up here, I've had things that that are that size of a slime blower, and they're like, oh, hey, there's a cat. I've had things like a slime blower, like the size of a slime blower, not like a slime blower, get shipped to me, and they're like, yeah, we have to ship that on a crate, like a pallet shipment,
two pallets,
like a pallet shipment, and I'm the type of guy that when it comes to a HasLab, I'm ordering two, you know, like I want to modify and I want to keep one. So yeah, like that would be something where it would be like absolutely this is going to be like a pallet shipment or something.
Honey, so how attached are you to our actual bedroom? Do you still need it? Because I've got two slime blowers coming in the mail.
That's my fear too, is like seeing some of these companies like, you know, we're making an animatronic Slimer. And it's like, okay. So what do you got for 2025?
Right.
Like your animatronic Vigo, Scoleri Brothers, you know, Stay Puffed, whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy a larger house.
Yeah. Well, and when that, I really have high hopes for the animated series as well. I think that's going to, you know, I think everyone in this, you know, screen right here was so influenced by the cartoon, and that is what allowed a PG-13, you know, movie with a ghost giving a pleasure to one of the Ghostbusters in a dream sequence. You know, that's not a movie that typically you see a lot of 4-year-olds dressing up as, but real Ghostbusters allowed so many kids to join the fandom, and I'm hoping we're going to see a real big surge in young Ghostbuster fans coming up with the with that animated series too, and just breathing even more life into the franchise and giving us more opportunities to go out there and help as well. But Jason, we are we're out of time here, but I can't thank you enough for coming on, and you are a this has been used for other folks too, but you are a pillar of this franchise, and somebody that everybody that does what we do knows who you are, and it was such a coup to get you on here to talk to us and share your experience, and you are always welcome back if you have anything you'd like to plug or share, as if your own platform is not big enough to do it. But we would love to have you back sometime to chat, and thank you so much for giving us your time to talk today.
No, absolutely. I mean, I thank you so much for having me. I love what you guys do here, giving a continued extended voice for community members individually, plugging what they're doing, plugging individual, the kind of their backstory and stuff. And it's always fun to actually kind of like learn and find out, why somebody got into the Ghostbusting. Because, as a kid, I never thought, man, me in my 40s, I would be rocking, wearing a proton pack, or my goal would be to be like, hey, you know what? I really need to get this, massive 3.5 foot long Ecto 1A. Like I need that. But it's awesome. I think for a lot of us, it kind of keeps us young and everything. And
it does. I keep telling my wife, you should see the smile on the 8-year-old me's face, right now, as there's so much stuff is just exactly what we never thought we'd be living through, this Ghostbusters renaissance that we are right now. And thank you so much for helping shed so much light on it, Jason. And so also, real quick, I know we're right up on time here, but before we get going, I want to remind everyone to check out Ghostbusters News, check out the Why We Bust page, the Los Angeles Ghostbusters page, the links to donate for the California Fire Foundation, and the fundraiser that's going on right now for everybody impacted by the wildfires out west. Please go there and donate. You're really helping out a great cause there. And also here at the very end, Windy City Ghostbusters own Bob Anderson, also known as Bob After Dark. He is right now reacting to paranormal videos, giving you his take on how, whether they're, some legitimacy there or not. But Bob is reacting to those right now. And so stick around in the chat, and we will be rating Bob's stream, pretty much right now. So
on
thank
Twitch.
you on Twitch. So thank you, everybody that has joined us today. I want to thank Matt from the Los Angeles Ghostbusters, and again, Jason Fitzsimmons. What a pleasure. So great to hear a little bit more about your story, and thank you, everybody else, for joining us and learn a little bit more about why we bust. And Jason, here's where we pretend we have outro music.
I got you.
All right. 2, 1.
Doing my John Hughes